human body's tendency is to run well, and the mind's also tendency, in 99.9% of the people, is to be very stable and to be in a state of happiness. That is the mind's natural tendency. It only gets disbalanced out of that when the lifestyle is bad. When the lifestyle is bad, then the mind gets out of balance. The first step for getting mental health is having the body working well. Because the body is where the mind lives. If the body is not good, how is the mind going to be good? This is basic, very basic. So when the body is proper, and the body proper means food, digestion, upavasa, asanas. These are the basic things. I think you've had this experience. Have you found this?
Yeah.
Tell something about that. Tell something. What I want to know is, did you have the experience that by doing these things you noticed any changes in the mind? I want to know because you've been practicing. I can tell from my side. I can tell you from my side first, I'll say. I started in 1986. 1986 I started doing all these things. I won't say that I used to get depressed in my life as such, but I had emotional ups and downs, especially in teenage years. People get these things, ups and downs, and getting affected by things. And in my early 20s, when I started doing this, then this is the first thing I noticed, that mind became stable like a rock. Stable like a rock. Unaffected by things around. And that is how mind should be. That is how mind should be. Mind should have a level of santosh. This is one of the Jamaniyama is santosh. Santosh means that mind should be in the state of santosh, means satisfaction, happiness. Mind should be in a state of happiness regardless of the events that are going on. Regardless of how the boss treated you, regardless of what anybody said to you, that the mind, why should it be affected by those things? No need for it to be affected by those things. Did you get any experience about that?
Yeah.
Say something.
So, three things we're talking about. The first is food, the second is upavas, and the third is asanas. So once food is streamlined, then if you want to have sattvic food, then first thing you would like to do is you're not going to get this kind of food anywhere outside. So you stop going outside. So there is a period. So if you don't go to outside food, so every time you're hungry or you're going to office, you want to take food, you're taking food which is cooked at home. So as you know that outside food, there is some personal interest, so it may be tasty in the sense that the way our taste buds are used to, that is why it gets a bit of satisfaction. But if it is trained to take sattvic food, then it will, once you have sattvic food like without onion, garlic, not too much of oil, and also minimum salt or no salt. So this kind of food will not be available outside. So that is food aspect, that you don't go outside to take food. So the type of company you have, even at your workplace or home or neighborhood, so you make relations with everyone, but not just to go outside and take food. So in that way, that is a very good health benefit that we get, that we eat proper food. So as we were discussing, that just eating good food, we don't need to do any extra effort to lose weight or to being healthier or maintain a good health. So that is from food aspect that as we are discussing, I think just taking good food, everything becomes very soothing health-wise. And also a feeling that the body would not feel any time very heavier because the food is at such that it would not let you feel like heavy or clumsy, or many a times you will not feel any overweight. So body becomes very flexible. So that's the first part. The second part is is doing upasas. So when I started along with friends, we started about initially twice a month on 2 Ekadasis, doing Nirjala Upas as we have discussed in the past. So just a small example that on Upasas, every day I used to bike to school before when I started. But on Upas days, even when the mind knows that you're not going to even take a drop of water, then you see that I used to just simply walk because I thought that maybe at the end of the day I might not have energy to bike and come back home. So just go to walk. So in the morning itself, the mind gets trained that you're not going to do any nonsense thing. So even walking on the corridor, when people say someone catches you, okay, let's talk for 5 minutes on this chapter. Then you said, okay, let's talk whatever is to the point. Then I am going to go back and go to my work. Because you know that, you're not going to do anything outside. So that is what we were talking. That's what we call it as you do things, your Vivek acts on that day, that I'm going to do things which are proper, nothing improper. And my personal feeling is, out of all weekdays, the fasting days are most productive work-wise, just in a crude and sidewise thing. So mind gets very much balanced, and it does not do anything, any negative thing, or mind becomes very much balanced, and it thinks the positive way, the way it should. So that's the second aspect of doing upas. And then we started doing even on Amavasyas and Purnimas, so 4 times in a month. Very good, no problem health-wise, nothing harm, not harmless, not any harmful, no harmful effects, anything of that sort. So fasting is the second aspect which creates a lot of balance in the mind. And the third thing is asanas. Again, slowly, if you start doing, just do asanas, the ones those are told in the morning and in the evening, and do it in a constant way every day. There will be ups and downs that initially the mind may find that, okay, I have to do certain things, so let me skip. But before sleeping, you may ask yourself, did you do a good thing on that day by skipping it? So maybe next time you don't do that. So just keep on doing. So if everything goes in a routine way, that, okay, these are the instructions for me, and let me do these things, just keep on ticking that these are the things for me to do, and I kept all of this. The mind feels very happy. At the end of the day is, okay, I did whatever is required for me. And slowly practice becomes habit, and habit becomes nature. And Sir Moses says actually that is a thing that over time, if one practices, it becomes like that. So all 3 aspects have impacts on the mind. The mind gets in a very balanced and rhythmic way. Mind does not oscillate too much. And another thing is, if the mind is balanced, it can think a long way. It can think what is right. So there will be pressure on you at work or at many things that you do in your own life. So in that way, mind can behave well. It can do things in a right way. So mind has the balance of mind gets input from all of these factors. These are just a few experiences.
When we started our Sanskrit class here, then at that very time, Anupam Mahadaya came up to me and asked me about yoga at that very time. And so, I think it might have been after the very first or second class. And so I said to her, sure, we can get together and start doing something. And so Savyasati Mahadaya and Atul Mahadaya, the 3 of them, and actually Pavan Mahadaya as well in the beginning as well. But since we started, we've been getting together. And if you can imagine that from the time that the class would end at 2:30, we would usually start at 2 o'clock, 3? By 3 o'clock. Class would finish at 2, by 2:45 or 3 we would start. And we would have discussions about yoga, and then do asanas together, and now more recently also doing meditation together from 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. every Saturday. 7 hours every Saturday. As regularly as this class has been, that as well has been. Every single Saturday we get together and we discuss and go into depth and detail and discuss all the aspects and study together, and we do asanas together. We were doing asanas together every day, every Saturday, for about an hour or so. Right? About an hour or so?
Yeah.
And now we're doing asanas separately because we started doing a longer meditation together. But everybody does their asanas. So it means these sessions have been going on. And although Anupama is busy, he hasn't been able to come here. But we get together every Saturday after this. And his life completely changed because of this. I have him come here someday so he can tell you about what happened in his life. Everything changed. And fundamentally, it's the body changed completely, and in the beginning, the physical changes. Body changes completely, and along with that, mind gets changed completely.